morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it is in the cosmos, whenever this is finding you. Welcome to Kai Chi Alchemy. You can call me Katchi. This is a space of love, y'all. Welcome or welcome back. I want to thank y'all for showing up. Thank you for co-creating community with me. Thank you for all of the engagement, the likes, shares, subscribes, comments, all of those things. Today we're going to be reading the next chapter in the Ringing Cedars of Russia series, book 2. And you're going to have to forgive my dishwasher in the back there. I did not fully think this through. So feel free to let me know so I can use that information in the future. Should be okay, but you know. Chapter 19. 111 on the clock. One evening, a man from Novosibirsk dropped by to see me. He was in Moscow on some business of his own. He brought along a bottle of vodka and some light snacks. We sat in the kitchen of my one-room flat, and he told me about how things stood with my family and my company. The situation was indeed deplorable. My firm had had to give up one of its offices in the center of the city for lack of funds to pay the rent. Our automobile spare parts store had had to close. The workers there tried selling shoes, but their debts only increased. The entire responsibility fell on my shoulders. And here you're up to goodness knows what. A lot of people are saying you've gone mad. You should have worked things out at the company first and then gone off and done your own thing, whatever it is. Nobody there has faith in you anymore. As we were finishing off the bottle, he asked me, "You want me to tell you my honest opinion? What they expect of you?" "Go ahead," I replied. "They would like you to do away with yourself, or at least disappear for good. You be the judge. It's impossible to start anything now without any seed capital. And here, not only do you not have any seed capital, you don't even have enough to live on, and your debts have been building up like crazy. You know, nobody's ever heard of someone climbing out of a hole like that. But with you out of the picture, will settle everything, and they can divide up what's left of your estate. Your wife says that according to the horoscope, you're a Leo, and you've just been wasting your whole life away. So you should, in poverty, just like in the horoscope. Come on now. Why did you undertake the second expedition? Nobody can figure it out." In spite of the fact that we were both pretty drunk, when I awoke the next morning, I had a clear recollection of the whole conversation. His arguments were forceful and convincing. Novosibirsk was a dead end. There was a dead-end situation here in Moscow, too. People who had worked alongside me were suffering. My family was suffering. I couldn't possibly find a way out and fix everything. There was simply no way out. Only my death could put an end to the suffering. Of course, self-deletion is never the right thing to do. But according to the logic of events, mine would relieve the suffering of others. And if that was the case, then he was right, and I had no right to live. And so I decided to do away with myself. The thought of it even brought comfort to me. I was freed from the need to undertake a torturous search for a way out of my present situation, since I agreed that ending myself was the way out. I cleaned up the apartment a bit and wrote the landlady a note to say I wouldn't be back. I decided to go to the trades union office to put up the fellowship files in order. Someone, okay, maybe not now, but later perhaps, would carry on with the work. The only question was, how would I do away with myself when I didn't even have enough money to buy the poison? Then I really began thinking, maybe it shouldn't look like suicide. Maybe I'll go take a dip in the river, just like the walruses. and I'll jump through a hole in the ice and drown. So I headed off towards the Moscow River. As I was making my way through an underground passageway at the Pushkinskaya metro station, my ear all at once caught a familiar melody. It was being played by two young girls on their violins. An open violin case lay on the pavement in front of them, and passers-by were tossing in money. A lot of buskers make extra money like that at metro stations, but the way these two girls were playing their sweet melody amidst the bustle of noisy pedestrians and the screeching of trains in the background caused many a passerby to slow down and listen. As for me, I couldn't help but stop dead in my tracks. The violin bows were echoing a melody I had heard only once before, in the Siberian taiga, a melody sung by Anastasia. Back there in the taiga, I had once asked her to sing something of her own, a song I'd never heard before, and she came out with this extraordinary, unusual, captivating melody without words. She started by screaming like a newborn baby. Then her voice began sounding ever so quiet and tender. She stood beneath a tree, her hands clasped to her chest, and it seemed as though her voice was a lullaby, gently caressing a little baby, trying to tell him something. Her voice was so quiet it caused everything around to be still and listen. Then she seemed to be filled with delight at the little one waking from sleep, and her voice took off with rejoicing. The incredibly high-pitched sounds and cascading trills soared and took flight to the heavens, radiating through space and delighting all around. I asked the girls, "What were you playing?" They exchanged glances, and one of them said, "I was just sort of improvising." And the other chimed in, "And I was just playing along." Here in Moscow, caught up as I was with the idea of setting up the Fellowship of Entrepreneurs, which had become the main focus of my life, I had almost completely forgotten about Anastasia. And now, on the last day of my life, as though to say farewell, here she was, reminding me of her existence. "Please, play some more, the way you were playing before?" I asked the girls. "We'll try," the older one replied. And there I stood in the metro station passageway, listening to the captivating melody of the violins and remembering the glade in the taiga and thinking, "Anastasia, Anastasia, it's much too complicated to make all that you've thought up come true in real life. It's one thing to dream, quite another to turn the dream into reality. Some sort of mistake must have crept in as you were working out your plan. Organize a fellowship of entrepreneurs, write a book." I felt as though a flood had hit me. Repeating these last two phrases over and over again, I felt there was something out of place there. Something wasn't right. Back there in the taiga, the words had been spoken not quite the same way. But how? How else could they have been said? As I continued repeating them, I happened to switch the word order and heard myself saying, "Write a book, organize a fellowship of entrepreneurs." But of course, the book should have been written first. The book was supposed to settle all these questions, and most importantly, spread information about the fellowship. Yikes, how much time I realized I'd wasted, and in the meantime, look at how complicated my personal life had become. All right then, I'll get busy, I thought. At least now it's clear just what I should be busy at. It's absurd, of course. Someone who doesn't know how to write, writing a book, especially one he expects people to actually read. But Anastasia had faith it would work out. She kept trying to convince me. Okay, that means I've really, really got to try now. and I've got to see it through to the end. Hello, Yashaswi. Hello, yes, sir. Oh yeah, I think that you were the one that I was getting mixed up the other day because I was asking, "Are you from India?" Because there was somebody in the chat the other day that was talking to one of y'all about um, Attack on Titan and how you were both from India and like connecting on that. So I just had assumed that that was the same person. But yeah, I do the same thing. The mixing people's names up when they start with the first couple letters. I get called Kyle and Michaela a lot though. That's quite far off. A lot more. So yeah. Anyways, 11:11 on the clock. Thank you guys for being here. Of course I remember you. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's see. Should I pull us a card before we get out of here? How about we do the biblical tarot? Just because I love the artwork on there and I want to look at one of them. All right. Spirit, thank you for your blessings. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your wisdom. Please allow me to channel a message for this collective here today, supporting their greatest and highest good, balanced with that of the collective at large. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. 635. Earth, water, air. I'm going to read these 3 verses in order. The first one is Mark 12:43 for the 6 of grains. The card is called Widow's Generosity, and the verse reads, calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. And John 2:9, the 3 of chalices. This card is called the wedding at Cana. Apologize for all of my butchering of all the pronunciations constantly of everything. And the verse reads, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. And Samuel 28:17, 5 of feathers. This card's called King Saul's Tragic Downfall. And the verse reads, the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to one of your neighbors, to David. Whoa. Okay. Usually with the 6 of Pentacles, 6 of grains, oftentimes I will think of it as kind of a not completely reciprocal card, because if you're in the position of charity, of like giving to people that are in need, you have this power imbalance that you can take advantage of potentially. But here it's actually that the generosity is being given by someone who doesn't really have a lot of power or influence or resources available, and she's just, putting her money where her mouth is, practicing what she preaches, and without regard to what it's going to gain her, physically, socially, Water into wine is the transmutation, is the changing of one substance to another. one form to another, one frequency, one organization, one structure to another. And here we talk about how King Saul's reign was not in alignment with, well, just was not in alignment, was not sustainable, was not going to last, did not have the type of integrity that it needed. It's kind of like a tower with a faulty foundation, and the tower falls. But specifically mentioning that not only is the tower falling, the tower is intentional, the tower is meant to be there. The tower just happened to have a faulty foundation, and we need to rebuild the foundation. So we need somebody else at the base. We need a different kind of energy at the base. And these three cards together are very interestingly giving me the same energy of Vladimir realizing something small in the order. It's like you have all the pieces, you have all the information, you have all of the ingredients, but you're trying to figure out this puzzle of what exactly it's supposed to look like and how to get it to work best, how to get it to work properly. And so I feel that there is a shift coming in, either in your life, personally, perhaps collectively, like the global energy, maybe both, depending on the time and place that this message is finding you. 1711 on the clock. But the energy that I'm getting off of these three cards together, essentially, is the meek shall inherit the earth. If you know, then you know. Yep. All right. I look very much forward to our next video where we will be doing some channeling on whatever is coming up then. I am very much looking forward to getting into this Acres of Diamonds reading, but it is like 63 pages long, so I need to make sure that I've got plenty of ample time and space to do that. Feel free to bring your questions to the next live because I will be attempting to ensure that I have time to do some little mini reads for anybody who would like. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Love, light, peace, and personal responsibility. I will see you next time.